Here I've got a pair of MonoX power amplifiers, and the complaint here was that one unit was getting much hotter than the other, so we suspected some problem with the fan controller. And I'd never really had any issues with fan controllers in the past. This is something that just takes care of itself really, so I didn't really know how it worked, and so we had to investigate that a little bit. And what I find is, tucked down here, we've got an LM35 type temperature sensor. It's a very standard device, and that's just in thermal contact with the chassis. There is also a circuitry that detects the audio, and so both that audio detect level as well as the temperature level are sent over this ribbon cable to a microcontroller at the front panel, and then that pulse width modulates some transistor switch here which turns the fan on, and it pulse width modulates that, and I'm not entirely sure why they've taken that approach. That seems a kind of dirty approach to controlling the fan. I'd rather see some sort of analog control there. But anyway, that's what happens. The microcontroller reads the temperature and reads whether there's audio, and then decides whether to turn the fan on or off. And what I found was that basically the temperature that the fan came on in the two different units was different. That was one problem. There was another problem I found though, in that one unit, when the audio stopped, the fan kept running, and that shouldn't be the case. It should be the case that when between tracks, or when the audio stops, the fan should also stop. Or essentially the fan level is modulated by the level of audio, so that essentially you don't really hear it, it's just kind of in the background. And what I found was that the input balance circuit affects the audio detect, and what I had to do actually is tweak one of the resistor values on the board. Just with age, things have drifted, and I had to tweak a value to sort of null the offset on the audio detect, and then it should be good now, and we're just about to test this. So what I've done is I've taken the analog level off the temperature sensor that's on this cable, so we'll monitor that, we'll monitor the temperature. I've got a load connected, and then we're just going to input an audio signal, a test signal, and we'll check at what temperature the fan comes on both units. So this unit, serial number ending 97, and it's actually got a little kink on this corner of the back plate, so just to identify each unit. Right, so what we're going to do is we'll connect the DMM up to this temperature sensor now and see what we got. So here's the DMM connected, and we're reading 370 millivolts, and what we understand from the LM35 is it's 10 millivolts per degree C. So essentially we're reading 37.8 degrees here, and we'll just continue to monitor that temperature. I'm just going to apply a signal now, and we should see that temperature starting to rise. It'll take a little bit of time obviously to get moving. There, it's starting to go up now. So I'll probably just come back once we reach a temperature where the fan's about to come on. So we're creeping up towards sort of 52 degrees here. I can expect the fan just to kick in just about now. There we go. So about 52.5 degrees that one kicked in, and I'm shining a light through the fan here so you can see the flickering effect. Now if I turn the audio off, the fan should immediately stop, and that's what's happening here. The fan is going on and off with the audio as well as temperature, and that's exactly what it should do, and that's what it wasn't doing before. So quite happy we've resolved that problem there. So that's all fine. So we recognise the fan comes in about 52-53 degrees here, and we'll go and check the other unit and see what happens with that one. So this is the second unit, serial number ending 81, and we're just approaching the same temperature where the first unit started up. and hopefully we should see the same here. There we go, 52.5. So very happy now that both units are coming on at pretty much exactly the same temperature there. Of course, it could be the chassis feels slightly different just because of the thermal resistance between the chassis and the temperature sensor. You know, both units are going to be slightly different in that respect. And then the other thing is, here I'm applying a test tone. When you're playing music, what you could find is that the fan just ticks on and off with the peaks of the music, so it may look like a bit odd behaviour, but that's quite intentional. So again, if I turn my audio off, fan should stop, and that's exactly what it's doing. So quite happy then these units are doing what they should be doing in terms of the cooling. So there's a quick video, but I'd never explored the fan controller here before, so there we are.